everyone, hope you're doing well. So yesterday it emerged that West Ham are interested in Rangers star Calvin Bassey. What a star he is. Outstanding season for Rangers, including that Europa League campaign as they made it to the final, and an incredible performance by himself in that final against Frankfurt as well. So usually if West Ham are linked to a player that's just had that final performance, just 48 hours later, it'd be a bit suspicious. I think it's a little bit convenient. But there's a few things going in favour of this rumour, and that is the history of the rumour. If you go back to 2020 when he joined Rangers from Leicester City, we were supposedly in the running for him, as was Bayer Leverkusen. Now, we may or may not have been, but that was certainly the rumour. And for whatever reason, he ended up at Rangers. It's irrelevant as to why or how, because it was the right thing for him to do. All you have to do is look at his development over the last 12 months. It's been incredible. Sort of started off the season as second choice left back at Rangers, and now he's one of the first names on the team sheet and just made it into the Europa League team of the competition. Now, I know the team of the competition isn't be all and end all, but as West Ham fans, we're not complaining to see when we see Craig Dawson and Declan Rice named in there, are we? So Calvin Bassey is in there as well. Deservedly so. But also about a month ago, there was some whispers that West Ham had bid or were going to bid around about 15 million for him. Now, nothing really emerged from those initial whispers, and I just put it down to fake rumours, made up nonsense. We've seen a lot of it. We will see a lot of it between now and the window opening, and during the whole summer transfer window, we're going to have to put up with it. Rangers and West Ham fans and any other fan of any other club. And I guess as fans, you try and pick out what you think's true and what you think is false. And when you're looking at the Calvin Bassey one to West Ham, there's a part of me that believes it. I don't know if it's just because I'm biased, because I'd love to see him at West Ham next season, but I do think there's enough sort of indicators and clues and also substance to the rumours that makes it a little bit believable. And then thirdly, so we've got those two rumours and the third one has come from ex-West Ham employee, which, as you guys know, I think is a really good in the know. So when it comes from ex-West Ham employee, I sort of trust it a little bit more than I would from somewhere else. Not everybody does, I'm aware of that, but this is my opinion. So anyway, so we've got the deal and we've got the player, and we're going to talk about the deal first of all, because it's going to cost big money to get him out of Rangers this summer. He's got 2 years to go on his contract, so they're under a little bit of pressure, Rangers, to get something solved, whether he signs a new deal or whether they do try and sell him for a big fee, and it will be a big fee. Or do they keep him another year and run the risk of his contract only having 12 months to go in a year's time? I actually think for Bassey, I think the best thing would be to stay put at Rangers. I think his development this season has been incredible. I think another year being that first name on the team sheet next season would not be a bad thing for his development. I guess the only question would be as to where would Rangers play him? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm uncertain what his best position is. Now that's a compliment, because it means he's very good in two different positions. But at the same time, it's a bit like the Declan Rice thing that we had when he first broke into the team at West Ham, when he was centre-back, defensive midfield, what position is he going to be? And eventually we also decided that defensive midfielder he is, and he's gone on to become a world-class player in that position. And I think you've got a little bit of that with Bassey as well. What position are you going to play him in long-term? I wouldn't be surprised that's part of the reason that West Ham and a other Premier League club, and there's a few being linked to him, might want to make the move now so they can decide what his long-term position is at their club rather than see what he does at Ibrox next season. Because I think with Goldson leaving Rangers this season on a free, I wouldn't be surprised if he remains as a centre-back next season at Rangers. But personally, and this is where I get a bit biased, personally, I think he'd be a better left-back. I think long-term, I think he'd possibly be a fantastic left back in the Premier League. I'm talking about the player here, not the deal, am I? Anyway, let's go back to the deal briefly. So, it's going to cost big money. There's two examples to take a look at here as West Ham fans. First one up, we've got Kieran Tierney, went to Arsenal, 25 million from Celtic. And I know some people would suggest that his profile is a little bit higher than what Calvin Bassey's is. You may be correct, he was sort of linked to Arsenal for a lot longer before he moved. However, in terms of experience, there's not much between them, between Tierney when he left and Calvin Bassey right now. And I know Tierney had Champions League experience, whereas Bassey's only got the Europa League one. But West Ham are not in the Champions League, and also that Champions League experience doesn't really count for much when you're not playing particularly well and you're conceding 7 goals in a game. You know, Celtic were dreadful in the Champions League, so you can almost dismiss that. It's experience, but that is it. Calvin Bassey's experience in the Europa League, in which West Ham will hopefully be competing in next season, we'll find out tomorrow. And he's made it into the team of the season. I would argue, while Tierney's played obviously at a higher level of European competition, I'd argue the experience that Bassey has received is actually better than what Kieran Tierney had. Tierney at the time had just broken into the Scotland team. He'd picked up a few caps against the likes of Lithuania. Bassey has picked up a few caps for Nigeria now. He's just breaking into his national team as well. So there's not too much differences. 25 million the fee for Kieran Tierney. Nathan Patterson went in January to Everton from Rangers with, I think he played 13 or 14 games for Rangers prior to his move. Now, I would have loved him at West Ham. You know that. You guys know that. I think he's got potential to go on and be a really good right back, and probably Scotland's right back as well. But it cost Everton 12 million to get him, and that's with clauses on top of that rising to 16 million. So essentially the deal was worth 16 million for somebody that played 13, 14 games for the club. That's it. Bassey's played a lot more than that now, at a higher level too. You're looking at least 20 million to get him out of Rangers, I think, possibly even more. And if it's 20 million, I think there's add-ons in there to put on top of that, clauses or whatever to sweeten the deal and get him out. It feels like there's a few clubs interested in him. There's Dortmund's been linked to him as well. Aston Villa because of the Steven Gerrard connection. I'm not too sure I believe that, because I've seen this morning reports that Steven Gerrard's sending a scout to the Rangers game. So West Ham fans, you haven't seen him play before. Rangers are playing Hearts in the Scottish Cup final today, so you can check him out then. But there was some report today. Steven Gerrard sent a scout to look at him. I mean, I think Gerrard knows enough about him, but I'm not sure I believe the Aston Villa one, because of Luca Dean at left back, and then that would mean if he's going to play centre back, fine, but that means dropping Tyrone Mings. Now, as you know, I'm not Mings' biggest fan, but to drop your captain's a big statement from Gerrard. But so there's Villa, there's Fulham. I mean, the Fulham one's just rubbish, isn't it? Yesterday, the rumours were they've had a £3.5 million bid rejected, and they're going to bid 9 million. I mean, I wouldn't even bother. 9 million. If I was Wilson at Rangers, I would block Fulham. I'd say, well, I'm not speaking to you anymore. I know you don't go in with your top bid when you start your negotiations. You bid low and try and meet in the middle. But there's bidding low, then there's just taking a piss. And I think 9 million is the latter here. I reckon about 20 million you're going to have to pay to get him out of Rangers this summer. I guess it depends on what Bassey wants to do, because I do believe the best thing for Bassey to do would be to stay at Rangers for a further year and develop his career a bit more. And I guess it depends on what Rangers want to do. 2 years on his contract, it's a difficult time, that, isn't it? 2 years is the one, because whenever they've got 12 months, as a fan, you think, oh, you better sell him now, cash in while you can, like you the Tielemans at Leicester. But when it's 2 years, it's like, well, oof, what do? Do you get another year and hope that his value doesn't fall? All it takes is one injury or a dip in form, and his value comes crashing down just as quick as it went up. So anyway, that's the deal. Big money. As for the player, I think he's fantastic. One thing that's important for West Ham in this, and this is what pushes the money up even further actually compared to Kieran Tierney, as he's homegrown. Because he was developed at Leicester City, he ticks that homegrown box, which is important for West Ham for their Premier League registration, for their European registration as well. So while Kieran Tierney is not homegrown, Robert Snodgrass wasn't homegrown because they did their training at the younger age in Scotland. Calvin Bassey did it at Leicester City, so that has to count for a lot. 22 years of age, and he's just got everything. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, technically really good. He's got absolutely everything. Like I said, this season, towards the end of the season, he's been playing centre-back more often. But if you look at the Scottish Cup semi-final when they played Celtic, went into extra time in that, and Rangers needed a goal, obviously, so did Celtic. But he had a massive hand in it. They switched up a bit. They put Bassey to left back rather than centre back, and he's the one that sets the winner up. Good run down the left hand side, decent enough cross in, low cross in, and bang into the back net, sorted. And I think he'd be an excellent left back at West Ham. I would prefer him as a left back, but he can cover centre back as well. Left footed as well, which is a bit of a luxury these days, isn't it? And we know how obsessed West Ham appear to be. And again, I say appear to be because this is what we get told, doesn't necessarily mean it's true. How obsessed West Ham are at finding a left centre back long term for the club, because obviously we've got Ogbonna, who sounds like he signed a new 1 year contract. We'll wait and see. But he'll be here next season, obviously. Left footed, fine, but he's getting on a bit. Zuma has been playing there alongside Dawson, but you've always got the impression that Moyes has seen the Zuma and Ogbonna partnership as a long-term one. Proof, again, is in the pudding. This season, that was our first choice partnership until Ogbonna got injured. Not that Craig Dawson's done anything wrong, but again, age is not on Craig Dawson's side. However, it is on Calvin Bassey's side, 22 years of age. Now, my videos, I've got, for something to watch over the summer, I've got a series coming out where I look at every position at West Ham and do 3 or 4 players per position. I wouldn't mind seeing at West Ham. My knowledge is limited. England, Scotland, a bit of Germany. That's about it. I don't really watch any other leagues, to be honest with you. And the left back one, I've got 3 players. One is Aaron Hickey, one is Calvin Bassey, and there's a other one. I'm not telling you, otherwise that video is useless. Someone I was a bit annoyed when this rumours come out yesterday. I say a bit annoyed, I was a bit delighted as well, but I was also a bit annoyed because there's my video for next week gone. But I think he'd be a fantastic addition to West Ham. But like I said, the money would be serious, but I do think he's worth it. I do genuinely think he's worth it. Also, it may or may not make a difference. From the London area, I believe his mum still lives in Beckton, actually. I think his mum actually still lives down in East London. So whether that would have any sway on the matter or not, I'm not too sure. But the rumours that I mentioned at the start about how West Ham were looking at him, at least in 2020, if that was true, and it is a big if, you'd imagine Moyes has kept an eye on him, kept an eye on his progress at Rangers, which has been incredible, really. And sometimes you need a little bit of evidence. As a Premier League club, you need a little bit more, because there's always that question that lingers: can he step up to the Premier League? And I think it's at times, being Scottish, I find it a bit sad that players have to almost go above and beyond a little bit. I think if a player plays in the Championship for 6 months and they perform really well, they almost immediately get linked with a move to the Premier League, whereas in the Scottish Premiership you have to do it. It feels like a bit more before Premier League clubs are convinced that you're good enough. But there's enough evidence over the years that players can do it. I mean, the best left back in the Premier League is Andy Robertson. I would say the best centre back in the Premier League is Van Dijk, who's come down from Celtic as well. Kieran Tierney's not doing himself and not doing bad, is he? John McGinn's a decent Premier League centre midfielder. So in terms of players coming from Scotland or being Scottish and doing it in the Premier League is rising, I think. And I think Calvin Bassey will be the next example of that, coming down from Scotland and performing to a really high level in the Premier League. But my point was, perhaps Moyes has been keeping an eye on his progress at Rangers. He will be impressed by it, you can't be. And the Europa League campaign might just be enough, might be the crucial piece of evidence for Moyes, for Steven Gerrard, for any other club that's looking at him, that says, look, this guy can do it. He's done it in the Europa League, and you have to take into consideration the opponents that Rangers have had. As West Ham fans, we think we had a difficult run to the final. We did. Sevilla, Lyon, Frankfurt, it was difficult run to the semi-final. But Rangers arguably had a more difficult one with Dortmund, Leipzig, and then obviously not beating, but taking Frankfurt to penalties as well. They've had a fantastic European campaign as well. And Calvin Bassey was one of the big reasons for that. One of the best players in the final against Frankfurt, made it into the team of the tournament. There's a lot going right for Calvin Bassey at the minute. A lot of interest in him in the summer. West Ham supposedly one of them. And I would love to see him, but it's big money. But we've got to spend big money. The left back is a position we need to sort long term at West Ham. Cresswell's getting on a bit, and I don't want to see Cresswell leave, by the way. I still want Cresswell to be part of West Ham next season. But what we could do, if we're serious about it, is if we get Bassey for big money, you can play left back and centre back. And obviously we know David Moyes does not mind 3 at the back, and we struggled with 3 at the back this season. I think there's been 1 or 2 games, like against Wolves, it worked, but I think there's also been 1 or 2 other games where it hasn't been quite as good as it has in the past. Calvin Bassey, we know, can play that left centre back role. He'd be incredible in a back 3 on that left centre back role, getting forward. We know Moyes doesn't mind one of the centre backs pushing up. He's tailor made for that position, so he can play his left back, left centre back, and left centre back in a back 3. What's not to like? Homegrown, 22 years old. He's got everything. Anyway, I'm a bit of a fan of Calvin Bassey, can you tell? But it'll cost at least 20 million, I think. If you enjoyed this video, do drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like I said, later today, Rangers take on Hearts in the Scottish Cup final, if you want to have a look at Calvin Bassey. And obviously tomorrow, West Ham take on Brighton in our final match day of the Premier League season. Hopefully we can get 6 and that Europa League spot. And for some reason, I'm feeling quite optimistic about it. Catch it tomorrow. 2:55, 5 to 3 tomorrow. We'll have our build-up show live on the channel. So I'll catch you then.